The next matchup, Tom. This is for me. I feel like this is a really interesting matchup because I feel like this is two very poor defenses. This is two unique offenses, and I think this has got sneaky shootout potential for me. 46.5 over under. Is this one? Please tell me that you're attacking and I'm seeing things the same way as you are.
Yeah, I think if you're looking to attack this matchup in a DFS point of view, it's finding the unique ways to do it because Josh Downs, he had 12 targets last week with Gardner Minshew under center, but he's probably not going to see that much of a role this week. I think he's probably going to dip back. Michael Pittman, he's averaging a 30% team target share, which is fantastic. Those are the kind of wide receivers we want, particularly on offenses who can score. But the Colts, they rank second last in explosive play rates. They're going up and down the field, but they're not doing it quickly. They're not doing it in individual plays, which doesn't always make for perfect DFS mega stacks. And then you look at the Rams side of the ball, and Kyron Williams is the RB5. I think he's proven himself that he is Sean McVay's boy, and it's going to be like that. Yes, there will at some point take some of the workload off him, but it's unlikely to happen right now. I'd start Kyron Williams in cash games this week. I don't think the Colts have shown there's anything we need to be worried about on their defense. And then it's looking okay. Well, everyone knows about Puka Nacua at 6,700. He could be a value. Tutu Atwell at 5,500. Your boy Rich. I mean, he's definitely looked fantastic, and he's getting some of those design plays. I think he should have had a touchdown last week. It was a bad call by the refs. So yeah, Zach Moss, you can definitely start him again. I think when a player goes out and puts out 20 PPR points in both weeks, then we just kind of have to trust him. Even though he lost some snaps to Trey Sermon last week, he still had over an 80% opportunity share, so that was fantastic. In terms of Anthony Richardson, he's the obvious play. If you're looking to attack this from the quarterback side, Anthony Richardson, he's had 13 rush attempts so far for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns, whereas Matthew Stafford's yet to crack 15 points. The passing touchdowns haven't come yet. I think they will at some point, but you're kind of looking for Matthew Stafford to put up 300 passing yards plus 2 touchdowns minimum to pay off. So, yeah, I think it's possibly a game where I'd go Anthony Richardson and Zach Moss and then look to add someone like Puka Nacua on the other side or something like that.
Yeah, I think the Matthew Stafford point is fantastic. I love him as a buy low in Superflex leagues, whether that's dynasty, redraft, whatever. Just because that touchdown's got to change. There are 600% more rushing touchdowns than expected versus passing touchdowns so far this year. Like, that's wild. And that's going to come back. That this offense, potentially, if they get Cooper Kupp back, come back in the next couple of weeks. But let's be honest, we spend hours, months thinking about fantasy running backs. And here we are, week 4, and Kyron Williams and Zach Moss are must-starts in every format. It's just wild. Absolutely wild. I don't have anything else to say than that. But we've got some interesting questions. So I might need a follow-up to this. But basically, he's loaded at wide receiver. Would you drop Zay Flowers for Anthony Richardson? His QBs are Fields and Daniel Jones. I'm presuming this is Superflex. If this is one QB, then drop Fields and Daniel Jones and pick up Anthony Richardson. You don't need to be carrying 3 QBs. But if this is Superflex, Tom, are you doing that?
If it's Superflex, I'd probably still do it, but I wouldn't. If it's Superflex, I probably wouldn't drop a quarterback. That's the last thing I'd ever do. If it's single quarterback, I'd drop Daniel Jones in a second. But yeah, I'd trade Zay Flowers for Anthony Richardson there. I think the wide receiver room you've got, particularly with Cooper Kupp coming back soon, is strong enough that you should be looking to make a move like that.
Yeah, makes sense. Next question. Would you trade Lamar for James Cook and DeAndre Swift? I'm down bad on running backs. Waiver running backs are also cooked. Again, guys, if you're asking questions, let us know if it's 1 QB or Superflex, because that makes such a massive difference. Presuming 1 QB, Tom, are you doing that?
I think possibly so. I mean, if you're down that bad on running backs and the waiver wire is toast, then at some point you're going to have to make a move. And if you've missed out on the guys like Kyron Williams, you've missed out on the others, I would be making sure that players like Tajay Spears and Tank Bigsby were rostered, because you definitely need those guys regardless of whether you make this trade. But yeah, it wouldn't feel particularly great, but there's probably enough on the waiver wire that you can get out there and get it done.
Yeah. Okay. The next question from Jeb Armstrong. So it's one QB. He says, should I trade Kirk Cousins, Christian McCaffrey, and Waller for Mahomes, Eckler, and Laporta?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I do that because Eckler CMC are probably comparable now that Eckler is going to be back probably after the bye. Waller isn't getting it done, and Laporta, his usage looks consistent, and Mahomes, I think, is notably going to be more consistent than Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I think I would. It's hard going from CMC to Eckler. That's the tough bit. But I think I'd probably still pull the trigger on that, yeah. And then next question. So need 3, Christian Watson, Amari Cooper, Godwin, Flowers, Hopkins. So which 2 are you sitting?
I think I'm not playing Christian Watson first week back of a hamstring, and I'm not sure I'd play Chris Godwin. We'll get to that matchup later, but I think even though Mike Evans is the obvious sit there, I'm not sure I've seen enough from Chris Godwin where I really want to be playing him yet.
Yeah, so I think for me, Flowers and Cooper are absolute must-starts. Watson's one I'm sitting. It's then a toss-up between Godwin and Hopkins, and I think I'd probably lean Godwin, but I could easily be talked into going Hopkins. They're in the same tier for me this week. So yeah.